Michelle Waldsmith, welcome to the Z List with Zach Hammill. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
So we know each other from high school, and we reconnected kind of more recently on Facebook. And you have a very peculiar hobby around Oscar season, and maybe it's not that peculiar, but you want to tell us about
I
that?
mean, it is a little bit peculiar. During 2020 COVID lockdown, I decided to do something a little bit different during Oscar season. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a almost 7-year-old, and my life can be kind of boring, and it was especially boring during that time. So I decided to watch all the Oscar nominated films in 2020. And what makes that extra strange is that I don't watch a lot of movies outside of that window, or at least I hadn't for many years. So it was just kind of this adventure I took, and I've done it now. This is my 4th year. So it's been
Awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think you and I will have a great conversation. My goal is to be a bridge person when it comes to movies. Like I have a pretty broad range of what I like, but I also like to talk to people about what they like and why. And of course, I'm coming at it from a slightly different lens. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this with you.
I've really enjoyed talking to you after I watch the films because I refer to you as my movie friend. And so I watch the movie from my perspective, which is very different than yours. And then I like to ask you, like, hey, what did you think about it? Because it's always very different and I learn a lot from you. So
Oh, well, thank you very
yeah.
much. Let's get started with Nyad.
Listen to this.
Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Don't you want to be fully awake? Your soul ignited by a purpose.
Oh, God. Oh,
I'm serious.
that again.
Yes, I loved Nyad. Nyad is just like this classic, simple, like not artsy, like what are they trying to do? It's just straightforward. It's based on a true story. It is inspiring. Yeah, loved Nyad.
This isn't my go-to type of movie, although I do like these types of movies. Um, I'm not really into watching sports or athletics in general, but I love a well-made movie about that. And after seeing what you had written about it, I was a really big fan. I've been a fan of Annette Bening and Jodie Foster for a long time, and just seeing them together, I was like, could we just get like more buddy comedies with these two?
They were so great together. I loved them. They really worked well together. Yeah, I mean, I love this film. I'm not hugely athletic myself, but I love like man versus nature, like people pushing themselves to the extreme, that kind of thing. And certainly that was the case with this movie. It was really, really inspirational. I mean, especially since the person pushing the limits was what, like 64 when she finally achieved her goal.
Yeah, I mean, what a story. It's definitely like a made for the movies type of story where if somebody had written that story, you'd be like, come on, knock it off, you know.
Right. Yeah, there's no way that happened. But wait, it did happen.
You know, sometimes you watch a movie and you can kind of see the running time, or if you pause it and you're like, how much of the movie do I have left? But there are several times where I'm just like, geez, what could possibly happen in the next 45 minutes? It like just
Yeah. Yeah.
everything I was
I felt the
trying to
same
predict
way.
from these types of movies, I was just like completely off, and I knew nothing going in aside from
Right.
basic synopsis.
Yes. When she was doing her first attempt, I had the same thought. I was like, well, this is kind of like over then. And it was amazing. And the other thing that I loved about it was how it highlighted teamwork and
Mhm.
how like there's this one person who achieves this amazing feat, but there's so many people behind her that had they not done their jobs, she wouldn't have been able to achieve what she did. And she took them for granted, through much of the film. And then, that shifted. So seeing her character kind of shift and become aware of that was also really cool. Really
Yeah,
enjoy that.
absolutely. And what a team they assembled too. Like, I only knew about Annette Bening and Jodie Foster being in the movie. And then when Rhys Ifans showed up, I was like, oh, first of all, I love him. I've been a fan of his since Notting Hill. But to see him in this type of role as kind of like a crusty old boatman, was
Oh,
just he was great.
yeah, he was fabulous.
Did you happen to see Free Solo? Was the
I think
documentary?
so.
Yeah.
That was like was it a mountain climbing mountaineer kind of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I bring it up because it's the same directors, and I believe this movie is their narrative feature debut. And I thought it was really interesting the way they incorporated actual footage of Diana Nyad being interviewed and even intercut with the performances with the actors. It was oddly not distracting, and it kind of worked on both levels.
Yeah, and it wasn't always obvious, like to me at least. Like I think they did a really seamless job of that, because at times I was like I wasn't sure which was which. But yeah, I always love that. I love when we see pictures of the actual people at the end of those kind of films.
There's a fun story that I saw in some of the news stuff. Annette Bening was talking about how she really wanted to do it. She accepted the role, and then she was like, oh, wait a minute. And she didn't think about the fact that she would have to train, that she would be swimming for real, but also to like kind of get into that physique, that you need.
Yeah.
And there were certain shots where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like look at the muscles in her legs.
That's something that amazes me with actors. It makes me think of like Tom Hanks and Castaway, what he had to do to transform his body for two completely different physiques and for one film. It's just mind blown. Don't know how they do it.
Jodie Foster, her role is like really fun. I mean, I've seen Joy, like kind of, she does exude joy, but there's just such like a sense of ease and fun. And then when she has to like be a coach, the coaching moments are just like, you want to get in the water, like you believe you can do it,
Yes, ma'am. It's not necessarily what you would expect in an Oscar film, at least not myself, kind of refreshingly so.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, it's a bit of exactly. Yeah, it's a bit of a throwback. It's sort of like the type of thing that would have been up for all the Oscars like 20 years ago. I think it did get the right nominations. Like both actresses were just incredible. There's not much more I can say except see Nyad. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's a feel-good movie.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We're going to be doing some more of these videos talking about Oscar-nominated films. So yeah, stay tuned. We have a couple fun ones coming up. I'll be talking with Michelle on some other videos, and I also want to take this opportunity to plug myself. I am a filmmaker, I am a director, a screenwriter, and an editor, and would love to work with you if you have ideas for storytelling videos, either for your business or for other needs. Let's have a chat.